Hey everybody, Lee Smith at Spouses Buying Houses. Almost forgot the name of my company. Um, Today I want to kind of go over something you got to really be aware of and really be on top of, and that's the property tax number. Because if you're not careful when you're running your numbers, then you can get yourself in real trouble. And don't ever, I'm going to say this again, I say this in all my videos, don't ever trust what the wholesalers sell you. It's nothing against them, it's just don't trust them. Do your own due diligence, right? So you can go to Google and do Indianapolis Property Taxes, and you can plug in the address of the property, or if you know the parcel number, you can plug in the parcel number, and you could pull up the property tax bill online. And you need to do that and make sure you're running numbers. Now let me show you a thing that could really catch you and cost you a lot of money if you're not careful. All right, let's look at this property here a second. Okay, so I'm going to show you two properties, their property tax bills. And I've removed all the important information to say where it is and all that sort of stuff because YouTube doesn't like me to share that information. Although this is all public domain information, you can, like I said, you can Google Indianapolis Property Taxes. You can plug in somebody's address or their name, if you know the owner's name, not the wholesaler's name. If you know the owner's name, or if you know the parcel number, you can plug that information in, and you can pull these property tax bills. So I'm going to show you this real quick. So these are two houses. They're both 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom. They're actually right next door to each other. 1162, blah, 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 and 1166, blah, blah, blah. So I'm going to show you the taxes. This is the subject property. A wholesaler sent me this deal, and she's trying to sell it, and I'm running the numbers on it, and then I realized real quickly that something's wrong. So in this particular case, this is an owner-occupant who's selling it to the wholesaler. And the owner-occupant has a bunch of exemptions on their property. Now, if I went and looked at this, I'm looking at this, it's 302.83 a half. So 606 a year, basically. That's cheap, right? And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's going to make my numbers, make them work, right? So 606, right? So then I'm like, if I plug that in, it's $50 a month. That's great. It's not bad at all. But we need to look at other stuff. So here is page 2. And this is a number we're going to keep in mind when we go look at the other deal. So this is the gross assessed value of the property. It's $75,100, right? And then here is the other important number here. This is the local tax rate in that area. And they change from county to county, township to township, district to district, whatever. So this could be a little different. You know, I know everybody's heard the 1%, 2% rule, but there's special assessments on properties. That, like, you know, for schools or other stuff like that, or sewer systems and stuff like this. And so these are all, this is what your current tax rate is for this individual property. So that's 2.7858% of the gross assessed value. Now, we can quickly see here, she's got some exemptions, deductions on her thing. So that's taking her number way down. And if we click all the way down here to the bottom, we'll see those. So these are the exemptions she currently has in place. This one right here is the homestead exemption. And the homestead exemption is $45,060. You, as an investor, unless you're living in this property, you cannot claim the homestead exemption. And that's a huge exemption, right? And then the other one is some supplemental. And that may be, you know, I don't know what that is, but that could be a bunch of different stuff. And that's another $11,265. So total, if she gets exempt, $56,325. So if we go back up here, we see 75,100 minus the 56,325 is a gross assessed, or I'm sorry, a net. I don't want to say yet. Net assessed value of 18,775 times 2.7858% is $523 a year. So you can see here, there's some other stuff in here for stormwater and solid waste. I typically figure, you know, about another $90 per half for that. So that gets her up to the 302.83. All right, now let's look at our other property. This is the next door neighbor who is an investor. Their property taxes, and again, this is a 2-bedroom, 1 bath. Both of these are 2 bedrooms, 1 bath. This property assessed value, I'm sorry, not assessed value, but their property taxes are $799.41 a half. So it's almost $1,600 a year compared to $606 a year. So you're talking $50 versus $135 a month in property taxes. $85 difference. That's going to ruin your numbers per month. $85 extra per month. So it's going to cash flow. So again, here's our, and this is the other thing. That other property was assessed higher, $75,100. This property is assessed to $63,600. So $63,600 We don't have any exemptions, and they're same rate, 2.7858%. So that means that they're $1,509 a year, right? No exemptions. So you tell me, you may get away for 6 months or a year at the 606 rate, but they're going to catch up to you, and then they're going to jump you up. And then what's that going to put us at? That's going to put us at, let's go back here. So they said our assessed value is 75,100. 75,100 times 0.027858. That's $2,100 a year in property taxes. And that is divided by 12. $174 compared to the 606, which is basically $50 a month. 50 and a half, right? So $174 a month for this one, and it's 50.5 for the other one. You can see it down here. 606 divided by 12 is 50.5. So if I'm running my numbers, I'm going to run it based off of the higher number. And it's probably going to kill the deal. In fact, it did on this one. But, these are things you need to be aware of. That this is not going to, this can make or break your numbers. You got to make sure you do them right. Anyways, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. Happy to help. Thanks. Appreciate your time.